Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday morning trading room. Bear with me here a moment. My charts are not quite loading right here, as you can see. I am taxing my poor computer too much, so bear with me here as I try to get everything fixed. Obviously, I'm going to have to get into the trading room here a little bit earlier. And get everything set up. I was reviewing one of my charts, though. It looked like yesterday's session, some nice ranges throughout the day, but overall, the market not really going anywhere, or not too far anyway. This morning, as you can see, we're opening with a huge upside gap. I thought that was an error, but apparently, well, unless my programming isn't tracking right, which could be. All right, let's see what's going on here. I was going to try to take my first in-sync eagle signal this morning. And that would be it right here. And so far, the market rallying nicely. Is that correct? Is everybody else's chart like this, or is there just something wrong with my eagle? I haven't had a chance to check what went on with the market last night. That should not look like that, but whatever. We're interested in what's going on today anyhow. Yeah, Mark says, nope, something's wrong there. All right, bear with me. While we're waiting for opening range to expire, I'm going to reload my data, see if that doesn't fix things a bit. And then I'll have to check my data that's coming into the chart, make sure that it is set on 24/5. The final solution is always to reboot your NinjaTrader. That fixes all, but I won't do that right now. Oh, look at that. It's not overlaying my hawk template correctly. Poor computer. Wow. My computer is really struggling here this morning. This is not like it. All right, well, while we're waiting for that to straighten out, oh, we're almost there. I don't want to touch anything else, only to slow it down even further. No, it would not. Mark says doesn't help the market's moving briskly. Okay, looks like it's reset itself. This one I just need to reload my Ninja script. That should fix that. Well, this is one way to avoid trading during opening range. Just muck about with your charts for a bit. Hooray! Okay, while that seems to be working, just give me a second here to save everything. Okay, I think I'm finally ready. Aren't computers wonderful? All right, while we're watching the market continue to all right. Sorry, my microphone now acting up. What's going on here this morning? Okay, I think I got everything fixed. I hope I got everything fixed. While I'm getting my bearings here, I wanted to point something out. Somebody gave me an interesting email the other day. Yeah, it wasn't you, Mark. I don't know what was going on. My microphone crapped out, so lots of little gremlins going on here in the office this morning. What I was going to talk about is somebody gave me an interesting email the other day and asked, Eric, is there any way that I can filter out signals? I'm not looking for a lot of signals, but the signals I want to take are quality signals. And I thought about it for a little while. And actually, one of a very handy filter to use if you wanted to add this to your charts, you already have here in your trade manager. And what we've done is we've already employed it here on the Eagle. This was Mike Filiguera's suggestion to me years ago. He said, hey, Eric, why don't you throw an ATR on your Eagle, and you'll find that the signals that are in sync with your ATR will tend to have better follow through. And Mike is very, very aggressive with this particular strategy. In fact, he doesn't even care if the trading band is in sync. So long as the signal is in sync with the ATR, he's already buying. And you can see sometimes you can have some very nice results from that. Not always, here, this one stalled a little bit, gave you a little bit of heat, but the market did eventually turn and head higher. For me personally, I like to have a few more things in sync. But I thought, hey, you can do the same thing on your Raptor, of course. Now with the Raptor, I think the ATR, the way it's set on the Eagle, may be a little bit too tight. But you could certainly set like a 4-period ATR. Essentially doubling your Eagle setting. And if you wanted to put your ATR line on your chart, I'll show you how you can do that. Or you can just turn on your trade manager. And what you would be looking to do is you would be looking to take signals that are in sync. Now, your counter trend signals will probably rarely be in sync, but you can see how that may have served to help you avoid this number 3 signal. And it certainly would have confirmed this number 1 signal. Like I say, the counter trend signals are probably always going to be against your ATR. Now, if you wanted to employ that ATR line on your chart, this is how you would do it. You would go to your indicators window, and you would find your program down here labeled IW ATR TM Trail. There we go. So if you double click on that, you would change your settings from number 2 to number 4, unless you wanted to try the number 2. I think that might be a little bit too aggressive. But at any rate, when you apply that to your chart, oh, here I'll make it a little bit thicker so you can see it better. Maybe we'll make it good and thick. And there you go. So now you have your ATR line on there, just as we do on the Eagle. And you can use that as a bit of a secondary filter. Now you could do this on any of the tools, really. But I just thought I would throw that out there. You see it, well, this number 1 signal to short, you see is in sync, so is the number 3 signal. This number 3 signal was against And you can play with the settings, but I thought, well, there you go. There's a little simple little filter that may help you avoid a bad trade or two. Now you can see it's not 100% here, this number 3 signal, although it looks like you would have had to be pretty quick to catch that number 3 signal. These bars all unfolding rather quickly. Market context, I think, still trumps all, where you want to consider what the market is doing, but it's just a simple visual. I think I'll leave it on here for today. We'll play with it a little bit. Stephen here makes a good point. He says, as you know, my filter is a trend line. If there's a good trend line, then there's a high probability that when it breaks the trend line, you will get profit and be able to quickly move your stop to break even. So a great tip. I love trend lines too. I think trend lines are very valuable trading tools. Wow, we're getting some quick moves here this morning. Starting to look to me like the market may be trying to get into that opening gap. Yeah, Steven says. And then there's my other filter. When Eric says buy, I go short. And when he says short, I go and buy. Yeah, that does seem to be the way it works sometimes, doesn't it? As I've bemoaned on more than one occasion, the hazards of a trading room moderator. Everybody gets to see me screw up. When you mess up at home, nobody knows. All right. Well, look at this. Here we actually have a number 2 signal that is in sync with the with our fancy new little ATR on there. Speaking of trend lines, this might be the type of situation where I would wonder if this recent rally was really just a bear flag in the making. Nope, not yet. Not yet. Okay, so we do have a rather large downside gap, and it's fairly obvious here on the daily. Actually, yesterday's session looking more bullish here on the daily chart than the intraday, and that's because it would combine the overnight trading as well. But you can see we left off up here just above 7,000, opening this morning up here. So that little space right there is a bit of a downside gap. It'll be interesting to see whether or not they try to get into that gap. And here too, we have a similar look where we've had that move lower, and now I'm thinking, okay, is this a bear flag in the making? Or is it the break of a trend line? All right, we'll put that away for now. The daily chart. It's not bad to sometimes have a bigger overview of things. Oh, what time is it? Oh, it's almost the end of opening range. I notice we have a late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. We got ourselves a number one signal as well, but it seems to be fading a little bit. Oh, now we're actually getting a soft edge sell signal. Look at that. All right, well, we won't touch that just yet. Oh, look at that follow through. That was maybe a little stronger than anticipated. All right, while we're waffling, bullish band, bearish band, bullish band, it does seem as though we are twisting up a little bit. The swing low a little bit higher relative to this one. The swing high a little bit lower relative to this one. So we are seeing a little bit of sideways congestion building. And here we actually have a number one signal to short now. This is our cloud crossover. What I like about this is we do have a second push opportunity. Oop, let's talk. More trading. There we go. So we do have a second push opportunity on this one. And I think this might even fall into Stephen's trend line scenarios, maybe. Oh, I was talking to Adam the other day. He says hi to everyone. Oh, look at that. Now we're coming back yet with another number two. Okay, I'm going to close that up. It does not appear as though the sellers have it together just yet. All right, let's put that back on the shelf. All right, nice little rally there now. Again, if you wanted to be more aggressive, here was one of our discretionary signals. It looks like it may have gotten up there high enough to find your high probability target. But the next signal that prints should be a number one signal. It should be a cloud crossover. And that one will be in sync with everything. Geiger counter had a nice block of buying and selling go through here. Now we're fading again. All right, let's put that away. Put it on the back burner. Back now into the hard edge of the trading cloud. Working a bit of a sloppy 4-arrow consolidation here in the hawk. No, it might be too early to try to pick a trade here. It does appear as though the market is a little bit constipated at the moment. All right, here now the number one signal. And what I'll do is I would employ a second push, probably above there. Opening range just about to expire. And now a number two signal. All right. So we're starting to get that sideways drift. If you're going to look at the overall market context here, I think it's fairly safe to say the market is moving sideways. And when we anticipate that the market is in a bit of a sideways rut, it's a rather large range, but honestly, until it gets outside of this trading range, it's going to be tough. You probably could look for selling opportunities up here. You could probably look for buying opportunities down here, or you could just wait. Okay, here we are now at the highs. You can see the 7100 zone. So here's the breakout. We'll look for a retest if they're going to give us a retest. And then we'll see whether or not the market can stay outside of this trading range. So if you wanted, depending how aggressive you were on this, well, here, I'll show it on the Eagle. Why not? If you wanted, you could already throw your buy order in above there. Because if the retest is going to hold, well, the market is going to trade above here, isn't it? It's going to keep going higher, or it should. Come on, get up there. Ooh, hooray. That was a quick little move, I have to say. Uh, great follow through on that, though. And you can just see how we used just the basic market structure to try to take advantage of that move. I'm wondering now, did we actually print a signal? Oh yeah, we did. We printed a trend change signal here on the Falcon. We had, well, it didn't quite get low enough to a macro pullback, but the Hawk early on producing first micro macro cross, and the Raptor here now with just a discretionary signal, or a late number one, if you will. But regardless, you can see, what it was that we were looking for. If this breakout failed, okay, so here's the breakout. We're looking for the retest. If this breakout all of a sudden turned again and started heading lower, there would be a very good chance that the market would try to test the bottom end of this trading range. Now, the big bottom end of the trading range is right there. There is a case to be made for a smaller trading range right through here. Regardless, the fact the market broke out and did not continue with the breakout would have given you an early tip-off which way the prices were going to head next. So a nice little opportunity there, if you know what to look for, and now you do. Looks like now we're getting another retest of this whole trading zone. So the big move up. Breakout here above the morning high. Yeah, like Steve says, easy trade. There's nothing to this trading stuff. Piece of cake. I'll take it though. That was a good trade. And you know what? If I were looking just for my trading quota, I certainly would have made it right there. My day would be done. It's a nice sunny day here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's see if I can get a tea time. Catch you tomorrow. Bye for now. Oh, while I have everyone, I'm out of town over the weekend. I will not be able to host the trading room on Monday. I'll remind you again tomorrow, but no trading room this Monday. All right, well, now we're kind of back into the sideways twist. You can see the Falcon trend line here going very, very flat. that little chunk of green, and certainly this chunk of green, spoiling our late filter entry signal that was developing. The hawk now, again, with a bit of a sloppy 4-arrow consolidation off of a yellow bar. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the fourth one. I don't know, I might, take Steve's advice and throw a little short-term trend line on that one before looking for the entry. Just to try to stay on the right side of the market, or wait for a better setup. There's nothing wrong with that. Right? You don't have to take every single signal. Try to hold out for those signals that seem to meet your criteria better. Here the Raptor now, the cloud kind of in that sideways trading zone. The trend up today, but struggling to stay that way. Oop, I was a little bit late here on this red bar buy signal in the Eagle. That's off of the hard edge. A little bit of a second push opportunity. I'm not going to take it, but I will highlight it for you. Probably set it up something like that. There's plenty of room here for the market to retest the highs. Which is what we want to see. Oh, we're getting comparable signals here across the board now. We do have a second push now on a number one signal, which kind of, oh, I'm going to be too late for that one too. Doggone it. All right, well, ideally, it would have been right here. The second push opportunity on that number one. And that finding its profit objective without too much difficulty. Sometimes if you miss the signal, you just have to resign yourself to missing the signal. Here, this Eagle signal, I was debating, trying to get in up here, but you can see the difference. Had I entered on the hash mark, I would have reached my profit target. Had I entered by the time I saw it, well, I'd be sweating the trade right now, or I'd have to reduce my profit objective, either or. So that was a nice little retest of that trading zone. Okay, the hawk now with the first micro macro cross signal higher. Oh, it's moving into yellow bars. That's going to spoil the signal, unfortunately. The only hawk signal I will consider on a yellow bar is actually the 4-arrow consolidation. The yellow bars are just too neutral. Here we're actually getting a trend change signal on the Falcon, so we do have another opportunity to look at taking that, and it's going to run away on me here if I don't get busy. And maybe that was a good thing. All right, let's see if they got anything here as we're flirting with the highs du jour. Oh, come on. Here we go. Give me that little bit of a bullish push. One more bar, and I'm going to roll my stops up right there. And I'm going to bring my break-even trigger down a little bit. There we go. Oh, don't stall. Oh! They stalled just a little bit too quick. I thought on that second attempt at this, breaking these highs, this high of the morning right here, followed by this high right here, I thought the buyers would be just a little bit stronger. I thought maybe they'd be waiting on the other side. Oh well, a break-even trade. I can't complain too much about that. What's the width of our cloud? Not that broad, but it's interesting that that breakout was immediately followed by a number 2 signal. That could have been interesting to try that. Oh, Frank said I tagged the R2 pivot. Well, that could have something to do with it as well. I'm not going to take the number 2 signal, but just kind of talking about price structure here this morning. We've got the high of the morning. We've got the high of the morning. We've got the high of the morning, and each time it's rejected. So if you're going to try a short signal, a rejection of the high of the morning seems like as good a place as any to try to short. Oh, look at that. Now they're going to head a little bit higher. Got tagged just a little bit too quick on that one. A little bit too quick with my stops. I'm trying very hard to be good this morning and not do a counter trend trade. But the temptation is killing me. I'm so weak. Maybe I should do one in Sim just to get it out of the system. Nice follow through on this number 3 signal, which happened to coincide. Oh no, actually it didn't. It came a little bit early. It coincided with this signal here on the Falcon, but I was going to say perhaps the second push might have offered you a better entry, and that coincided with the Falcon signal. I'm kind of liking the ATR line here on my Raptor. Like I said, you can put it on any of your charts. The key component, does it help you make a trading decision? Believe it or not, this is what gets new traders all the time. Believe it or not, the ability to make a trading decision is more important than being right. I know, hard to believe, but it's true. All right, well, we're waffling here again a little bit. Getting a discretionary sell signal here on the Raptor. Don't really have a comparable signal. It did drift down here to the, or near the hard edge, which would be the target. Pardon me. Hey, Frank says, I like it too. He says, I was using the chandelier set to a multiple of 6 to check the trend. The chandelier, a great system as well. What a lot of people don't know about systems like Supertrend and Chandelier is they're always in systems. So here's the super trend, and what I mean, I should actually show this on something else because we're going to get too many lines going on here. What I mean by that is, so here's your super trend. Excuse me, actually parabolics, also an always in system. And we're using the parabolics as a trailing stop, but you can also use them as an entry. So when the parabolics got violated right here, when they broke the parabolic, that would be a sell signal. When it broke the parabolic here, that would be a buy signal. You're always in the market, which works well when the market is making big swings, but you get churned when the market makes these minor little swings. So you would have sold here, and then you would have bought here. So this would have been a loss. But the idea is that so long as the market is making large enough moves, the winners offset the losers. So parabolic is that type of system. Super trend is also that type of system. Same kind of idea. Once more, we use it as a trailing stop system, but you can also use it as a filter or an entry system. Chandelier, also that type of idea. Frank says he had his cranked up to 6. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, very broad. So you would remain bullish so long as it stayed above here. And now the chandelier, because of this bar here, has flipped. So it would be a little bit more bearish. The stock chandelier setting was 3. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, a little bit more aggressive. So here now, the building late filter entry signal on the Falcon, and that would be in sync. Oh, come back here. So you could take a look at doing something like that. So the trend line never changing color, the filter going out of sync, coming back into sync. There's the signal. And are we going to get some follow through on that? Maybe. Maybe. Are they going to go? They're thinking about it. Oh, Mark says there was a nice 4 arrow consolidation here on the Hawk. Oh, and there was too. Practically textbook. 1, 2, 3, 4 has that nice little bear flag shape to it. Quick little move lower. Now they're recovering right back to that same price area. We have a number 1 signal now on the Raptor, and it also offering us a second push opportunity to get on board there. Oh, I thought we were going to fade away from that signal, but here we are again with another late filter entry signal. Back-to-back late filter entries. I would treat these one and both these as one. The challenge now is managing this trade given its proximity to this swing high. Oh, all right. Wow. Okay, I take that back. There was no challenge managing that trade given its proximity to the swing high. Wow. Okay, that was some very nice follow through. Thank you very much. Well, we're having a very good day today. Great follow through on our trades. A decent day. Again, just, you know, if you're, I think we're up $300 per contract on our 2 trades. So again, it's the power of multiples. If we can do $300 trading single contracts, well, that's $600 trading 2 contracts, $900 for 3 contracts, $1,500 for 5, and so on it goes. Okay, great question here from Paul. Paul asks, Eric, if you're a DTS owner, what are the equivalent signals on the Raptor 1, 2, and 3 signals? All right, well, first off, you need to understand the Raptor is a hybrid. It's a blend. It's going to incorporate elements of the Hawk, the Falcon, and the Eagle all into one. A lot of times the Raptor signals, the primary signal generation on the Raptor is the Falcon. But occasionally you will see signals print on the Raptor that won't print on the Falcon, the Hawk, or the Eagle. And the reason for that is the Raptor programming is unique in and of itself. But to answer your question, typically the number one signal will coincide with either a trend change signal on the Falcon or a first micro macro cross signal on the Hawk. So if we take a look here at this number one signal down here, looks like it produced around 7:23 my time. You can see we had a first micro macro cross signal developing, and it printed, it engaged, gave you a little bit of heat, but then it went up. About that same time, we actually were working a late filter entry signal here on the Falcon, but that was piggybacking on a trend change signal. So we get the trend change signal, just happened to coincide with a late filter entry. So your number one signal, a lot of times on your Raptor will coincide with a first micro macro cross or a trend change signal on the Falcon. Occasionally, it will also sync up with a trend change signal on the Eagle, but usually it will be more of a discretionary signal on the Eagle, because the Eagle, being the Eagle trend trader, there's not that many times that you're going to get trend change signals. So that 7:23 signal looks like it was very close to this one, the Eagle signal printing a little bit later. The number 3 signal will very often coincide with the hard edge signals on the Eagle. So whenever you get a hard edge bounce on the Eagle, it's very likely going to coincide with your number 3 signal. It will very often coincide with either a macro pullback on the Hawk or a trend line touch signal on your Falcon. Your number 2 signals, the counter trend signals, well, those are really quite unique to the Raptor. Occasionally, you're going to get a red bar buy or a green bar sell that fails, which will occur about the same time. So here is a red bar buy signal, and because it's a red bar buy signal and it's the counter trend signal on the Hawk, we could set up to short it. Right? We could set it up like this. This signal coming at around 7:11 this morning. There is a very good chance that around 7:11 this morning there was a number 2 signal printing. And no, not quite. Like I said, the number 2 signal really is quite unique to the Raptor. So those won't always sync up with other tools. What makes the DTS and the Raptor system so unique is that each of these tools the programming is unique to the market condition. It's not like we took, a 5-minute chart to scalp and a 15-minute chart for swing trades and an hourly chart for trend trades. The programming behind the Hawk has been specifically designed to pick up scalp signals. Likewise, for the Falcon and the Eagle, the programming is unique for each of their environments. And then the Raptor, of course, tries to incorporate the best elements of each into one trading system. So I hope I answered your question. I try to, people sometimes ask, well, how do you trade the tools all together? Oh, I do, but I don't either. Early on, especially with the DTS system, people would ask, well, if you get a sell signal in the Hawk, but your Eagle band is bullish, would you still take the sell signal? Yeah, because the Hawk is telling me something different than what the Eagle is. The Eagle may be saying, okay, well, maybe the overall trend is still bullish, but the Hawk is saying, oh, we have a short-term scalp. Now, that said, I much prefer to see all the tools in sync. It does make trading much easier when everything is going the same direction. Mark, crushing it this morning. He said, I've had a nice day, just over $2,000 on 4 trades, all winners. And again, that goes back to the power of multiples, folks. I know, Mark, you were probably all in, all out on those. But just the fact that he's built his account to the point where he can afford to trade 4, 5, 6 contracts at a time, that makes a big difference. All right, well, the seller's not making much of a stand here this morning. Very, very bullish day. And while I was on my little detour there, I think we had another, yes, we did. We had another nice late filter entry signal. Had a couple discretionary signals here on the Raptor. Yeah, I don't think I would have considered this close enough really to be a hard edge bounce. Sometimes you'll see the market come within a tick or two of the hard edge. But that's why we have multiple tools too. So you could have caught it certainly on the the Falcon. A nice little macro pullback here on the Hawk. Another first macro cross signal here on the Hawk. Now, I know you're looking at that and saying, "Oh, wait a minute, Eric, your trend lines didn't actually cross over there." But you have to remember what the first macro cross signal shows you. It shows you a market that has been all out of sync, and then it is back into sync. So note here, the trend lines are out of sync, the bars are out of sync, the filter is out of sync. Even though the trend lines did not fully cross, everything comes out of sync, comes back into sync. This also would qualify as a first macro cross. This technically back here, where the micro and macro lines cross, that's your first in sync signal. But you did have 3 first micro macro cross signals within this last leg of the trend. So something to keep in mind when you're following the Hawk. it's okay if it goes out of sync and comes back into sync. That's your cue to perhaps get on board. Tremendous follow through. My goodness, the market's going parabolic. And what that means is, I can't draw a curve very well here, but the market is accelerating so quickly, it's getting a bit of a curve going, a parabolic curve. That is a very, very fast moving market. Unfortunately, they're also not all that stable. Mark says, where's the band counter? Yeah, we're really wide. We're up to 80 ticks. If you wanted to be ultra aggressive, there's your short. Let's see if we get another little pullback and another little move lower. I'm going to lock in here to manual mode where I only have one contract. Okay, we'll see if they hold that little swing high. We'll get a quick little move lower perhaps. Just in regards to Mark made a follow-up comment here on his earlier trades on the Falcon. He said he had to widen his stop in order to get his profit objectives, and I think that's very good advice. Again, it goes back to giving the trade enough room to actually work out. All right, I'm going to force this to break even now. We're just above the break-even trigger. There we go. Tag the break-even. Come on, couple more ticks. Ooh, wow. Working out not too badly. Thanks for the heads up on the trading band there, Mark. I forgot all about that. Yeah, it was really broad, wasn't it? That obviously helps when you're trying to go counter trend, is when the market is very, very overbought, which is displayed by your very, very wide clouds. Well, we took a little bit of slippage on that one, but it was a profitable trade all the same. Frank's asking, what change did the Eagle have recently? Nothing really, Frank, except this band counter. Scott was always pestering me for a band counter, so I had Ben program a band counter for the cloud. Now, what it does, I only have it here on the Raptor, but you can get it on the Eagle as well. And what it does is it measures the distance from the soft edge to the hard edge. What's significant about that? Well, you're going to find, and it's unique to each market, so you're going to have to follow it a little bit. But in the case of the NASDAQ, whenever it starts to get about 50 ticks broad, it is more susceptible to a reversal, at least a short-term reversal. Here, the band got almost up to 80 ticks broad before we saw the market turn and try to head a little bit lower. You can do the same thing with the Eagle. We do have the band counter for the Eagle as well. And I think Scott was actually looking to short, and he's not in the room, but he'd have to correct me. But I think when the band got to be this broad, he would actually just look at the warning dot. And I think he took the bar with the warning dot to it. And if you take a look back in the history of the charts, you can see how effective that strategy really is. When you wait for your band to get very, very broad, this actually becomes your signal bar now, and a very nice move lower. Here's another one. Band gets very broad. There's the signal bar. There's the follow through. And of course, the opposite happens when the band gets too broad the other way. There's your signal bar, and away you go. Paul's asking, is the band counter a new indicator or an update? No, it's an update. So if you go to the members area and you download the Eagle or the Raptor, whichever one it is you've purchased, the programming will have the band counter included in it. Ah. Mark says there was a fib line sitting right on the support and resistance line. So he had a pretty good idea that there was going to be a reaction coming. So there's the S&R line. And I guess there's a fib line that falls close to that. Yeah, he says Confluence was all over that one. Confluence is a great thing when you're trading. You know, again, I can't stress it too much. You want, if you're going to put things on your chart, you want to have them help you make a trading decision. But, you know, when you have more things in sync, things do tend to work out better. So, for instance, you know, like we've been playing with the ATR line here this morning. Adds a little bit of confidence to taking these number 1 and number 3 signals, and just tremendous follow through. You know, helping to avoid, well, this signal did have follow through, but it's not going to be perfect, but sometimes it will help avoid a signal that is not going to have a follow through, if I can find one now. Well, whatever, you guys know what I'm talking about. Ray says, I believe the market might have heard some positive things in the Federal Reserve meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. FOMC. Is it FOMC time already? Well, that's good. We can always use positive news. Oh, way to go, Steven. Steven says, I just checked my IRA where I have a bundle of stocks from a few weeks ago. It's still down, but only a little, about 7% down. All I need is Facebook to fully recover. Well, providing nobody hacks them again, you should be all right. Okay, now we're getting very quiet again. Look at the hawk, all these yellow bars. Same thing here on the Falcon, loads of yellow bars. Obvious tight little sideways trading range here on the Eagle. Mark going out here on a limb, saying I think he meant to write 71.34. Yeah, I could see that. That would be, if you're somebody who likes to follow fibs, I bet you that's about halfways. Yeah, 71.32. Well, we're back into the hard edge, of course, where we anticipate some sort of reaction. Oh, 71.30. Mark was meant to write. Let's see where that falls. Yep. Again, that would be about halfways from this last little rally. It's not unusual to see those 50% retracements. Here now, our little hard edge bounce off of the trading band. um, Mark says my keyboard needs new batteries. I meant 7350. Oh, it was Stephen who wrote 7130. All right, 7350. Wow, Mark's really swinging for the fences way up here. I don't know if we're going to see that today, but that would be a very interesting target. Let's see where that falls on the daily just while we're waiting for something to shake loose here. So here now the daily. Yeah, I could see that, 73.50, sure. If this is a bit of a bear flag, you can start to use the lines to forecast where the market may end up. Stop it. And, you know, if you extrapolate, yeah, I could see that. You can see that's a fairly significant price level on its own. Held the market down here, held the market up here, held the market down here. So there's certainly some activity around that 73.50, 73.60 zone. Plus, it has the added advantage of being one of those numbers that markets tend to gravitate toward. While we're doodling, oh, it's not really lining up with anything. It's close to the 62%. Charles Dow always went for thirds. He liked the 66% level, so it looks like it may be close to that. And then that Fibonacci fellow squeezed in on what he was doing. Yeah, I agree, Mark. Mark says it might be a few days off, but it's feasible. Again, you know, it's not a bad idea to have a broader perspective on the market. And for me, I like the daily chart. This gap here is significant. If we don't fill that gap today, that shows tons of support. How can I say that? Well, the sellers obviously not being able to get down any lower to fill that gap, that tells me there is a lot of buying support here around the 70-50 zone. And it's very unusual to see gaps in the stock market. You'll almost always see the market try to fill that gap with a long tail or a long wick. But right now, where we're at, I'm not sure that gap can get filled. Not today, anyway. But of course, day's not over yet. Oh, another nice little hard edge bounce here on the Eagle. Let's see how we've been doing with our little trading band. Okay, so we identified it something like this. We got the breakout, very little bullish support on that side, so that opens up the opportunity for a short. I'm going to demo here the quick sell in anticipation of the breakout not holding, right? So we saw the market break out of our little sideways trading range here, right? Here was our little sideways range. The market broke out. It did not hold the breakout, brings us back into the trading range. That makes the bottom end of the trading range a viable target. Now, I'm doing it here on the Eagle, but oh, actually right now, I don't have follow-up signals. This is the Eagle rule of 3 signal, by the way, which is the counter-trend signal for the Eagle. Currently, I only have 2 counter-trend signals, but I have had the all-important test of the extreme. So this is the extreme price up here. Market has come down. This is the retest, and now I'm looking for prices to head lower. And what I'll do is I'm going to bring my break even up here a little bit, about halfways. Just given the size of the Eagle bars, I don't want to leave too much on the table here. And I think we were about halfways to the profit target. There was about $100 in open profit there if you wanted to tag out early. Floyd's watching crude oil this morning. He says crude had a nice move after the crude inventory report. If I get lucky on this swing, there is a good chance that we're going to see at least a little bit of a break here of the swing lows. Goodness knows there's no, still holding. That 71.45 zone looking quite strong at the moment. All right, gang, I think that's enough fun for today. A great day trading today. My goodness, I know I left a little bit of money on the table, but I'm not complaining. It was a very, very nice day overall. I'll catch up with you again tomorrow. If you're going to hang out here for a little bit longer, I think retrace, I think Steve's right, move to 71.30, entirely feasible. So you could look for shorting opportunities, at least for the short term. Long term, stay bullish. The market definitely in an uptrend today. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.